So without further ado, let us begin with our first presentation, which is RPA, Scaling Up Automated Business Processes. Peter Pavlov, who is an RPA Chief Solution Architect, and myself, a Senior RPA Consultant at Adastra, will talk about RPA and automating your business processes, as well as how to scale them up. So I'll hand over the floor to Peter, please.
Thanks, Daniel, for this great intro. Welcome, everyone. I hope you enjoy the content we created for you today. And we can start with the first topic. How do we scale up business automation processes? Well, let's start with what exactly is RPA. Most of you probably already know this term. It stands for Robotic Process Automation. It is the thing which you would like to adopt in your organization whenever you want to free up some of your employees' time for more creative tasks. Means that whenever your employees are working on processes which doesn't require any creativity on their side, that can be considered as a process which is a good candidate for automation, and that's where RPA comes in. So anything which is related to validating any file contents or going through a bunch of emails, sending them, reading them, extracting some structured data, working with that structured data in some manner, parsing data for some further downstream processing. All these are candidates for automation, which RPA helps you with. What are the benefits? Well, the main benefit is that it reduces the likelihood, the probability of a human error, and the automated process can be executed 24/7. Yes, your robots would never feel tired, and they can keep on executing that steps over and over again. That also essentially means that you can lower the cost of your end products at the end of the day, because you would invest less amount of time of your employees in the process of creating that product. And of course, the speed of execution is much higher with the automated process compared to the human side, which is a bit unfair, of course, but still it plays its role. What are the cons? What is on the negative side? Well, all this automated processing is heavily dependent on the environment it is created for, and thus it requires some maintenance to be taken into consideration. So I mentioned the word robot or bot. They can be treated as interchangeable, but essentially there is a distinction between what a robot is and what a bot is. Actually, most of the people perceive the word robot as something that has physical shape and form, which is not the case with RPA and how we use the term robot. And that's why we adopted the term bot with the time to be able to distinguish them from one each other. So a bot is simply a piece of code. It's a software robot that runs on a dedicated machine. It can be run in attended or unattended mode. The first one implies that you would observe the execution of the bot while the process is being started and executed throughout its steps. And the unattended mode means that you would just shadow that piece of code to execute somewhere where you have no direct access to, and you would just enjoy the end results of that execution. These robots, they aim to copy the very same steps, the very same tasks that a human being is executing. So you can look at them as part of your organization, like any other employee that you have in your organization. Most of these bots also can utilize external piece of code. So even if your RPA vendor is limited somehow, most of them also allow for execution of DLLs or some scripts like Visual Basic Scripting or PowerShell scripts. And yeah, at the end of the day, your robot will do exactly what you tell it to do, and nothing more than that. Where can you apply these bots? Like I said, in any department within your organization where you're working with structured data and repetitive tasks. Main candidates usually are finance and accounting, but also human resources and supply chain management. These are the areas where you come across such repetitive tasks on a daily basis. And of course, each of these departments is working with a lot of tabular data, which is easily consumed by the RPA processes. That's like the brief overview of what RPA is, and now I can give the floor to my colleague Delian, who worked on a solution of how we can scale up with the time when we deliver more and more bots for a certain organization. Delian?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. So now that we've heard about RPA in general, let us get specific with our use case and how we dealt with it. So here at Adastro, we develop and support bots. The development part is simple enough. You get a request for a bot, you develop it, test it, and then you send it live. But then comes the tough part. You have to actually monitor it and support it if something happens. As Peter said, it's environmentally dependent, so it happens from time to time that bots get errors. So how do we monitor our bots? At the beginning, we came up with a solution. All bots would send to us execution logs at the end of their run. And in these emails, they would have basic information about the run, whether it was a success, where it was executed, and how long it took. So this email is sent to the developer of the bot, to the person who is supporting it, as well as a group boss box where each bot has its own folder. Now, if I have to monitor, it sounds easy enough if you have to monitor 1, 2, 3, or even 5 bots. But what happens if there are more, let's say 20, 30, or even 100? We needed to come up with a solution that works best for us all and doesn't take too much time. So let me give an example why that was needed. This is a table of 4 bots with different schedules. So Michael runs from Monday to Tuesday from 8 o'clock every 60 minutes. And then it runs on Wednesday to Friday from 10 o'clock every 2 hours. Then we have another bot, Bob, which runs from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night every 10 minutes. And we have some other schedules like Dave, which runs every 3rd Sunday of the month. And we have John Doe, of course, which is a simpler schedule, which runs only on Thursdays from 9 o'clock every 75 minutes. This would mean that the developer who is monitoring these bots would have to expect 11 emails each Monday and Tuesday, have to expect 4 emails the rest of the week. And these are just from Michael. Then it would expect 97 emails from Bob, the one that's running every 10 minutes. And the developer would also have to know which is the 3rd Sunday in order to check bot Dave. So this, of course, has a lot of drawbacks because it's easy to overlook or forget something. It requires a lot of time, especially for the bots that run every 10 minutes, every hour, and the amount of bots only keeps increasing. We get more requests for bots than more requests to kill bots. So we would need also to have summarized historic information about these bots, what happens, because at the end of the day, you can just fix something and then forget about it. And also the group box where we get all our emails gets full very fast. So we needed to come up a solution, and we thought, we develop bots, let's make a bot for this. And our solution is called Moni. This is short for monitoring bots, and Moni is actually like a female nickname here in Bulgaria. So this bot, by reading all the emails in the group box, it will monitor all bots, regardless whether they are 5, 10, 100, 500, doesn't matter. It would send an alert when something is wrong, whether a bot has failed its execution or it's late, for example, and we will get it immediately. No need to wait for someone to check the email and see, oh, something is wrong. This bot also keeps track of tickets. It's actually its own ticketing system. It creates daily reports for us, and it makes our group box neat. To highlight how simple an RPA solution actually is or should be, this bot actually works only with an email client. Excel or some kind of a database. It doesn't need to be Excel, and a BI tool, in our case, Power BI. So this is basically, this table that you see here is basically what our monitoring bot is looking at when checking to see if some bot should be executed. This is a simple Excel file, which has a sheet for each bot. And on this sheet, we have 4 columns, which is when the bot should be executed, at what time, when it should end, and whether it's already reported by our monitoring bot or not. This Excel file is created on a weekly basis, and it just goes to show you how simple an RPA solution is. You just need emails and Excel. And if you want to actually analyze the data, a BI tool. So let us begin with the daily reports. The daily reports are reports that are sent at key points throughout the day. For us, it is sent 4 times during the day, but it is highly customizable. The tables could look different. The email could look different. It could be sent at different times, and that's easily adjusted. For us, this includes all the failed bots, all the late bots, all the successful bots, so that the workers, the developers, the support team can have an overview of what has happened throughout the day so far. Next, we come to the warnings, which are the more important part, actually. These are the instant notifications that everyone, the developer of the bot, as well as everyone on the team, receives when something is wrong. Whether a bot has failed or is late, doesn't matter. In the email, we have information such as when the run starts, when it's supposed to end, and when it actually failed. And when we get this warning, we can react immediately. As I said, it's sent not just to the developer, but to everyone. So even if the developer is not available, someone can act on it as fast as possible. We have a similar warning when a bot is late. It's actually the same thing as a fail. It's just that the bot is either taking too long to finish, longer than expected, or it hasn't started at all due to, let's say, some environmental issue. Also, when there's an issue, like a bot has failed, the developer of this bot, the person who's supporting it, receives a ticket. Our money bot is actually its own ticketing system. And when something is wrong, we'll receive such an email. This email will include a unique ticket ID, information about the run, like what has happened, when it has happened, who the contact person is, like this is the contact person from the business unit that's utilizing this bot, who the project manager of this bot is, because every bot has a developer and a project manager. And in the email, you'll see a fillable table. Don't worry if this table looks too small. It's actually stretchable. It's an HTML5 table. So you can input all the words you want, and everything that you input here goes into a master file. This master file contains historical overview of all the runs, whether they were success, late, failed. If there's a ticket, we get the ticket ID there, who took it over, how long it took him to resolve the issue, what was the issue. So if someone has an issue with one of their bots, they can go into this master file and see whether other bots have had similar issues, and it would help him fix it faster. But not only that, we utilize this master file for a BI dashboard. This is our BI dashboard. We have found this extremely useful when we plan our project, whether it would be budget planning or capacity planning. We can also identify weak spots in some bots, like we can see that bot spam control has failed 8 times. Why has it failed more times than other bots? Can we fix it so that we don't spend more time on it? We can also see who spent the most time supporting, or whether at certain points in the month there are more issues than in others. And overall, this is our, let's say, cheat code. We've been able to utilize it at its max, and it's a dashboard, so of course it's highly customizable as well. So what are the benefits of a simple RPA solution? In our case, it's a reliable tracking of schedules, regardless for how many bots, regardless how often they run. We have instant notification in cases of issues, so no need for someone to be checking their emails all the time or trying to react immediately. We get a warning from Money and we can act immediately. We have detailed historical information about past and potential issues. As I said, this is actually our strongest part of the bot, because we can analyze our team's work very easily. We have easily readable daily reports, which help us through our day-to-day work to know how each workday is going. And we have a clean group post box, which is the end goal when every bot is sending emails to one email box. And this was our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. And we can now move on to our Q&A session. Please ask your questions in the Q&A section. As I see, we already have a couple of questions, so we can start answering them. And who watches The Watchmen? Moni. I will take over this one. This is a great question. Unfortunately, we still haven't found a solution for this. I am the bot who is monitoring the monitoring bot. To be honest, as I said, it's a pretty simple bot. It only works with emails and Excel. So the monitoring of this bot is pretty easy. We haven't had issues with it, I don't think, ever, actually. The second question, is there any limits on how many bots you can monitor? No, actually, there are no limits. We began monitoring 5 bots. I think now we're up to 100. Only the execution time of the monitoring bot has gone up a little bit, but it's just a little bit. I think we can go even to 1,000 or more without any issues. And we have a third question. What additional license costs are required for the solution?
I can take over this one.
Yeah, okay, Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Delian. Well, like said, Delian mentioned several times that the current implementation is using Excel and eventually Power BI for the reporting part. Most of the organizations already have Excel in their license costs considered, and they're using it heavily. Because what is an organization without Excel nowadays? It's everywhere. But even if Excel is not in place, you can use other tools that allow for storaging of structured data in a tabular format. It can be a database of any kind. As long as the robot can get connected to it, then that's totally fine. For the reporting part, it's also not mandatory. So if you want to have reporting, you can use the underlying master file, which Delian described earlier. If it's in Excel, then you can hook another BI tool to it and just create the dashboard, which can be customized to your needs.
Yeah, basically anything is highly customizable in our solution. Oh, we have another question. Is your solution platform dependent? Automation Anywhere or UiPath, etc. Well, Peter, would you like to take over this one?
Sure. Well, our current implementation is done with Automation Anywhere, but the approach is generally the same, no matter which platform you're using. IDEA can be implemented with any other RPA tool, and it's just a matter of time that your developers can implement that idea. Sure, if anyone is interested in other vendors, you can reach out to us and we can discuss that matter later on.
Thank you. We have another similar question. Can you use other set of technologies for the same purpose? You're based on Excel and Power BI, but can we use other tools as well?
Yeah, we already kind of answered this one. We really don't mind using any other set of technologies. Excel, Power BI is just what we had at hand when we started implementation, so it's not mandatory at all.
Yes, the good thing about RPA is that the solution could be actually anything. You could use Excel or a database. You could use Automation Anywhere or UiPath. Almost all your use cases should be possible if you have specific instructions that you can give to the bots, because bots can only work with specific instructions. If that happens, then do that. If anything else happens, then do something else. If you know that they can't think for themselves, then you're on the right track.
Yeah, and what I generally advise people when starting their RPA journey is that they usually tend to look not more than a couple of months ahead in time, and sometimes they neglect the accumulation of the automated processes that will be in place let's say in 2 years, and they don't usually think about how they are going to manage all these bots that will be in their organization at one point in time. That's why we came up with this solution, and that's the main purpose of it, how to allow for scaling up with the time, disregarding how many processes you are going to be automated.
Thank you. We have another question now. What plugins do you support? Jira, Confluence, ServiceNow, etc.
Well, probably the way I understand the question, Jira is just a web-based tool. RPA is usually has no problems automating anything with Jira. Or if you're asking about the ticketing system, that's another story. We have our internal approach how to implement the ticketing. So everything is stored in Excel. We don't use Jira or Confluence or any other service tool, but it can be done. We did that because we didn't want to enforce any specific tool to our clients. So if they have something in place, of course, we can hook to that tool and we can start using it. We can get ticket numbers, for example. We can from Service Center or anything else. We can write comments about the ticket resolutions back to that system. It can be part of this monitoring bot. It's just something that is adjustable, is customizable, and it really depends on the environment set up within our customers. So we wanted to avoid that and to be able to offer something which is not dependent on any external tools. That's why we keep it as simple as possible and still be able to provide as much functionality as possible. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other questions so far. So if you'd like, we can start a little coffee break, and our next session will begin at 10:30 Eastern European time.